Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Diary of a Divine Black Girl. Okay, so y'all remember the last time when I went MIA and then I came back and then I said I wasn't gonna do it again and then I did it again? So, first of all, that's life. You can't trust everybody. And I'm no exception to the rule, guys. I'm sorry. I can't be trusted. I'm sorry. I'm an unreliable narrator when it comes to the timing. Everything else, I'm very much reliable. But then again, I may not be because I have been severely traumatized and I heard that that really alters your brain. So I may not actually be as reliable as a narrator. But anyway, just to be transparent with y'all, I never just leave y'all because I just be like, okay, let's pack it up. Let's pack it up. It never gave that. It never gave that. It never will give that. I promise if I'm leaving y'all for a period of time, it's really because I just have so much going on in my life and I just don't have the energy that I feel like y'all deserve for an episode. When I pop out with an episode, I'm giving y'all life. I'm giving y'all energy. I'm giving y'all personality. I'm giving y'all trauma. I'm giving y'all the best of the best. I don't want to come over here mopey as shit. I don't want to come over here a Debbie Downer because it's like, girl, we listening to your podcast. Like, yeah, we know we about to get traumatized, but also where that personality at? Like, yeah, and you right. Where that bubbliness, where that whimsical energy at? Yeah, and I'm not about to record an energy. Yeah, welcome to another episode. Like, I'm not doing that. So if I have to take that time to get myself right for me to be able to give y'all the energy that y'all deserve, then I will do that. Because not only do y'all deserve it, but I also deserve to be in a great headspace when I'm recording a video. That helps me, really get into the nitty gritty of the episode without bawling into tears and without also like just making it so heavy for me. When I tell y'all, I really have been going through a lot of internal changes, external changes, ego deaths, dark night of the soul. I'm having epiphanies. I'm having deja vu moments. It's just a lot of spiritual shit going on. But there's also so much stuff that is just really molding me into the woman that I've always wanted to be. And I feel like I really am her now. Like I had this epiphany yesterday where I'm like, I'm no longer trying to become that certain woman. I am her. But that comes with the sacrifice of a lot of pain and agony and a lot of stuff that I just been going through that has just been a lot to deal with. But I'm a survivor. I'm a warrior. I'm a star seed. I'm the black sheep. I was made for this. I'm divine. And not saying everybody who's divine has to go through a path or a journey that's excruciating, but I know a lot of us, we have, and a lot of us do, unfortunately. So I know I've been going. I miss y'all. I actually have recorded this episode before, but I didn't like the energy. That's what I'm saying, y'all. Y'all deserve personality. Y'all deserve bubbly. Y'all deserve whimsical. Y'all deserve the real me, not me who's like fighting for my life. Really have been fighting for my life. I really have been fighting for my sanity. I really have been fighting to just remember what the bigger picture is. But I feel like I got it. For the ones who know, if you know, you know, it's officially springtime for real. Happy spring. Okay, if you know, you know, things are starting to bloom, things are starting to move. So if your life felt stagnant or still, it's about that time. But I'm not going to waste too much time on the introduction because I know y'all probably mad at me like, where the fuck you go? Like, my bad, y'all. I really have been saving my life. And honestly, I've been trying to save others in the process. And it has just been a lot. But I'm back now. I feel great. And yeah, this episode will be about my father. Yes, I did know him. And yes, he was in my life, sort of, kind of. So I do have a story to tell. Another traumatic story to tell. I do want to give a disclaimer that this episode will involve abuse and domestic violence. And that might be about it on that. Don't forget to turn on your notifications so you can be notified when I drop another episode. This season is slowly but surely coming to a close. So please continue to ride this out with me. I promise to drop episodes frequently, but like I said, life has just been lifing, and I want to give y'all the best. I do, and y'all deserve it. So if it end up spotty again, y'all, I'm sorry. But for right now, I feel good. I'm back feeling me. And I plan on dropping this episode on Friday and the next episode next Friday. And, from there. But stay with me, y'all. Stay with me. But yes, with no further ado, let's get into the episode. Okay, so first, I want to say that I really do love the black man. Like, I really do. Even if they don't always love the black woman, I really do care about the black man. I feel like I really sympathize with them, and I really believe that they are the strongest and second to most oppressed, right alongside the black woman. I will always feel like the black woman is the most oppressed, but right after that, I definitely feel like it's the black man when it comes to certain criteria, when it comes to certain things, because there are certain things where black men definitely have advantages that black women just don't. But that's another topic for another day. Let's not get all political. You know what I'm saying? I keep telling y'all that's not this type of podcast. But I really do believe that a lot of black men are broken, battered, bruised, and I feel like a lot of things have been done to them that have led to them causing a lot of harm to themselves, to their families, and their offsprings. And I say that because I really do believe that my father is an example of that. And I be telling y'all that I'm not making excuses for these adults and things that they done. But what I am doing is I'm humanizing them. I'm giving y'all backstory so that way when y'all see or hear, the things that they've done, not that you will excuse it, but you will remember that at the end of the day, these are still humans. And that is something that I have learned to come to terms with. That is something that I have learned to accept. I have gone through a tremendous amount of trauma and pain and abuse in my life, but I have also realized that at the end of the day, these are their first lives. And like I said, that's not me excusing it, because at the end of the day, you have to take accountability. At the end of the day, you do know what you're doing. At the end of the day, right is right and wrong is wrong. That's it. I just also want to emphasize that people are people too. That's all I got for that one. I know a lot of people say that like your father is typically your first heartbreak, but I feel like it was both of them. Like, I feel like my mother and my father both played a part in being my first heartbreak. I'll definitely tell you that. I damn near feel like my heart was broken in the womb. I damn near feel like I was destined to come out to heartbreak. I was destined to come out to, disappointment and pain. It was just like, it was my path, unfortunately. And that's how I feel about that. My father, I never really knew too much about my father's upbringing. I never really knew too much about his life other than like the small things that my mother would tell me whenever she was in the mood to tell me, or whenever I would ask and she felt like telling me things. But from what I know and for what I gather is that my father didn't grow up with his family. He didn't grow up with his own mother or father. His grandmother raised him. And that's whom I got my middle and last name from. It was from her, the woman that raised him. But I never really knew much about his upbringing. I knew he had sisters. He has a lot of sisters and he has brothers. But I never really knew too much about where the mother and father went. And I just know that was something that ultimately really affected my father. I mean, I feel like it would affect anybody, not really growing up with your family and going to live with your grandmother and then that's how you was raised. Like, I think that would take a toll on anybody. yeah, I feel like that would take a toll on anybody. And my father, from what I gather, also wasn't. He was a bad boy. He was a bad boy. He was a goofy. Not the Chicago goofy, but like he was goofy, like funny. I mean, well, he was goofy too. He was goofy in all aspects, actually. Let's just start there, actually. Let me like, no. Let me rewind it. No. He actually was goofy as shit in all aspects. But in this context, I mean, he was goofy, like funny. He was a bad boy. He was into shit. He was the class clown. He was goofy. And that's how him and my mother met. They met in school. Now, I don't remember if it was middle school or if it was high school. It may have been both. But I remember my mama telling me they met in school. And she told me that, like, she fell for him because he always made her laugh and that they were friends first. Like, they had a really good friendship. They were like best friends, and he made her laugh and he was there. And of course, they were attracted to each other, and there was like a lure, you know what I'm saying? The good girls always end up with the interesting guys, but I mean, he made her laugh. I guess he made her feel comfortable, and they were best friends. So I can see how that came about. Like, not every person who ends up being a certain way starts out that way. I'm sure my mother didn't assume that my father would end up being who he was, or maybe she did, but I know that they didn't start that way. Their relationship was built on a foundation of friendship. So I can understand why my mother had a baby with him and trusted him and loved him, because he started out a certain type of way and they were friends first. So I get that. I do know little things about how they got together, but I do know that it took them a lot to be together, actually, because my grandfather did not want them together. Like, my mother was staying with my grandfather at the time. He did not support. He was very opposed. He was very, you're not getting with my daughter. Because, I mean, like I said, my father, he was into shit. He was doing shit. He was into shit. And I can't really speak on his character because, I wasn't born. But I don't really know if he was a good guy or a bad guy, or if he was good to my mother or not. But I do know that my grandfather, he just sworn against it. He forbid it. Like, you are not getting with my daughter. And of course, like any other teenager or young adult, we don't give a fuck. My mama, this my man, and I'ma stand beside him. Like, that's what it gave. It gave very much like, this is my man. And I feel like they talked about family. I feel like they talked about what it would be like to have a baby together. And then I guess all that stuff came into fruition when my mama got pregnant. And I never heard my father, being upset that my mother got pregnant or anything like that. I feel like I heard that he was kind of excited because he thought he was going to get a son. He thought he was going to get a boy, and they were going to have like, a boy, and they were going to have like this nice family. He was going to have his son, his first son, name him after him, all that good shit. And then I guess I burst their bubble because, ta-da, I'm a girl. And I feel like that kind of really busted their bubble because I just wasn't what they were expecting. And I feel like my dad had intentions and he had a plan, and he just had a vision of their life looking a certain way with them having a son. And with him having a daughter, it kind of just ruined those plans. And I don't know if he was trying to like right his wrongs. I don't know if he wanted a son that bad where he just felt like, oh, this is going to undo all the things that happened to me and I'm going to raise him to be right and stuff like that. I don't know what type of psychological shit my father had going on where he was just like, oh my God, I just need a son. But I do know that them having a girl played a part in my father going out and cheating on my mother. And him basically breaking her heart, him basically just not wanting to be with her anymore, him being in and out, and him basically just like, oh, this isn't the life that I thought. this isn't what I thought. This isn't what we planned. This, we were supposed to have a son. This supposed to be my son. This supposed to be that. And we have a daughter. Like, oh, okay. Like, thanks, daddy. And I can't even just blame my dad because my mom felt the way too. She really wanted a boy too. I don't know if she really wanted a boy just because he wanted a boy or if she genuinely wanted one. But I feel like both of their bubbles was popping. I'm like, oh, well, thanks, y'all. That's why I said I feel like I was in the womb and I came out heartbroken. Like, y'all didn't want me. Oh, my bad. Let me just let me just go back in there. You know what I'm saying? Let me just go back in there and y'all could try again in another 9 months. Like, the fuck? But I do know that after I was born, my father did go and he ended up dealing with another woman, and then he ended up getting her pregnant. I don't feel like it wasn't directly after, because my brothers and I, we weren't close in age that much. I think for my oldest brother, I would say maybe there was maybe a 5-6 year difference, maybe a 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like, y'all, I don't know. Maybe a 4 or 5 year difference. So it wasn't like, I guess he like directly did it, but he definitely broke my mother's heart, and he definitely cheated on her, and he definitely started sleeping with other women, and was leaving my mother to basically raise me herself. And then, because my grandfather was basically like, I told you not to have no baby. As I told y'all in a previous episode, he didn't want nothing to do with me. So my mother basically had to get out his house, get a job, and figure it out. And I didn't hear my father really helping her with that. Instead, my father was out making all my other siblings. And when I say all my other siblings, I mean all my other siblings. I believe I have maybe 3, 4 brothers, 1, 2 sisters. I don't know where we're at now. Well, I did have a brother that did pass away, and coincidentally, it was his first son that was named after him. And yeah, I won't really get much into that, but he did pass away. So RIP to my brother. But yeah, my father was out doing God knows what. That's what he was out doing. But what I will say is that my father wasn't completely out of my life. Like, he wasn't completely just not involved. His family wasn't completely just not involved. I remember, I think I was like maybe in preschool or first grade. Maybe first grade, maybe preschool. I don't know, y'all. It's blurry. I think it was possibly preschool, maybe. Or first grade, maybe. I don't know, y'all. Maybe first grade. But I remember my father's sister, my auntie on my father's side, my mother would wake me up and we would go to her house. Because, my auntie, she was in this house where with the rest of his family and sisters and my other aunties and a couple of my other uncles on my father's side. They all lived in this big house in Chicago and South Sash, And I remember my mother used to like take me there every morning because the school was right there on the corner of their house. So it made sense. So it's not like there was like always bad blood. Like, my mother really appreciated them for watching me. I would go there every morning. I would go to my auntie room, and she would have school later that day too. And I would just be up watching Hocus Pocus or be up and take a nap. And then she'll wake me up and she'll be ready for school. And I would already have been ready for school. And then they walk me to the corner, go to school. I go to school, and then after school, I would come back to the house, and then my mama or somebody else would come and get me. So, like, it was a dynamic then, but I do feel like the dynamic did end when my father just kept doing shady shit, because my mother was basically just like, y'all not holding y'all brother accountable. Y'all know the shit that he doing. Y'all know that the shit that he's doing is not right. He in and out of my baby life, and she was just kind of like, fuck all y'all. Fuck all y'all. So I started seeing my aunties and that side of the family less and less. when I started seeing my father less and less. Because my father, he used to come and get me all the time. Like I used to spend, well, I'm not gonna say I used to spend a lot of time with my father, because fathers be fathering, meaning that my father used to come and get me, but we really didn't always spend time together per se. Like he would come and get me, and then I would go to my grandma's house, or I would just go back to my auntie house. And maybe we would go get some food. Maybe he would ask me about school. I would tell him, oh, I'm on the honor roll again. But it was never an emotional connection with my father. Same with my mother. So it's like I grew up with these two emotionally negligent parents. So woohoo! More trauma. Love that for me. But yeah. It was never an emotional connection. It was very similar to my mom's, which is like, oh, I'm gonna buy you things. My father was notorious for just, let me just buy you these new shoes. Let me buy you these new clothes. And I had like this weird tomboy stage, and he was like very into that because he was able to, like, I guess, buy me boy clothes. But I was always a girly girl at heart. It always gave that. It was like a small period where I was a tomboy. But I think that's because my father was just always buying me Jordans and, clothes that were like made for boys, which I think was really like psychological on his end. Like, I am a girl. I want you to know that. Like, I came out a girl. Like, I know you have not accepted it, but I am a girl. But it was a small thing of that. But he used to just buy me, anything I wanted. Buy me any games I wanted, toys I wanted, clothes I wanted. It was just always buy me stuff. But we never really spent a lot of time like actually together. It was very rare that like I was with my father for more than like 2 hours. And within that time, he would be playing music. He would be driving around the city. We would be eating, or he'd be on the phone talking to whoever. But we didn't really always just talk. He would ask me how I'm doing, how my mama doing, but like it was never an emotional connection there between my father and I. But he did used to get me. He used to take me over to his grandmother's house. He used to take me to his auntie's house. Sometimes he would take me to his girlfriend's house, and my mama would get on his ass like, don't take my daughter over there. Like my brothers, their mother, he sometimes would take me over there. I never went inside, but he would take me and I would like sit outside, and my mama would be like, don't piss me off. Like I don't want her over there. And then that led to like me not having any type of relationship with my brothers as well, because I barely saw my father for real. And when I did see my father, my mama was not playing that. Like, you're not about to take my baby over there. You're not doing it. So unless my father planned an event like Chuck E. Cheese or something where we all came together, which he did a few times, but it was rare. Other than that, I didn't really see my brothers. Like, I never really had a relationship with any of them. They never really had a relationship with me. And every time I did see them, it was somebody added, like another brother or another cousin or another sister. Like, oh my God. And I'm not even knowing any of these people. These are my siblings, by the way. So it was very dysfunctional, very fatherly. But, I loved my daddy. Like, I would be happy for him to come and get me because, living with a single mom, she's always going to kind of remind you that like she's the single mom. And, the mom, she's the bad guy. She always, she's always the bad guy. And then the father is the good guy, up until you grow up and realize, what it really was. So it's like when my father would come and get me, I would be like, yay, because I'd be like, mama tripping. Mama mad at this. Mama mad at that. Mama mad at this. And he, I'm going to talk to her. I'm going to talk to her. I'm going to talk to her. And my father would always like still try to swindle his way back with my mama. Like, sir, like what's happening? Like you trying to get to me or you trying to get back with my mama? Like, let me know. And, I used to entertain the idea because I wanted nothing more than for us to just be a happy family again. Well, I'm talking about again like it ever existed. But I only ever wanted my family to be together. I only ever wanted my family. Like, why am I living with her and then I'm seeing you whenever I'm seeing you? Like, I want us to be together. But that just wasn't happening. My mother, she was just over it. She was fed up. She was over it. It was like, I'm not doing it. So that was a no. But he would come and get me. and he would come and get me. And then sometimes I would spend the summer with him. Sometimes I wouldn't. Sometimes he would come and get me every weekend. Sometimes he would skip it. Then it would get to a point where it started getting less and less and less. And I would just be like, oh, my dad said he's coming. And then he would never come. Oh, my daddy said he on his way. Then he would never come. Like, the only reason I knew is because he bought me my first, like, flip phone. And he would call me on it. Like, he was paying for it. He would call me on it. But then he wouldn't even always keep up with the bill. So it was like when it went off, I had no way of contacting him. So my mama would have to contact him and it'd be like, oh, I want to see my daddy. Oh, he said he coming, and he wouldn't come. And that would piss my mom off, because it's like, stop telling her that you're going to come. Stop disappointing her, and stop making me look like the bad guy. Like, if you're coming to get her, come and get her. And then I don't know, like, he would sometimes, and then sometimes he wouldn't. Sometimes he would come get me for the summer, and even when he would come get me for the summer, I was never truly always with him. Like, I would be either with my auntie again or with my grandma again, or there was a rare period where I was spending the summers with him and his girlfriend. He had a girlfriend out in Indiana, and let's call her Tammy. And you know, he was real, like, quote unquote serious with Tammy. At least I thought he was, because why would I be around her if he's not? But my father was a bachelor. He didn't give a fuck if he was with you or not. He was gonna do what he was gonna do. Like, he would come and get me from Chicago, take me to Indiana, and then leave Indiana to go back to Chicago to go back to my house and flirt with my mama while he was still with Tammy. And not only my mama, he would go back and flirt with his other baby mamas too. Like, oh, okay. Because at the time though, she wasn't his baby mama. She was just his girlfriend. I had met her. Her name was Tammy. Let's call her Tammy. And Tammy was cool, but Tammy also had her own kids. They were older than me by a little bit. And it was like, oh, now I'm spending the summer here. And it's not like I really got to say so in it for real. I mean, I wanted to be with my daddy, but it's like I didn't know that I'm finna spend the summer with you and the whole other family for real. But it was like, okay, I got adjusted to it. Like, it's fine. Like, I was promised we going to have a good summer. We going to go to the zoo. We going to have a good time 4th of July. We going to be grilling. It's going to be a good time. Like, okay, cool. So I met her kids. It always gave standoffish at the beginning, but I understand, because it's kind of like, who is you? And why is you in our house? And I would be like, who is y'all? And how y'all know my daddy? You know, but we had to all suck it up. Like, we all finna be here for the summer, which I always thought was weird, because it's like, when you're growing up as a kid, it's like you have no say so in nothing for real. Even though, like I told you, I did, because I did want to spend the summer with my dad. But it's like, shit like that is so weird, because why is it okay for me to just spend a summer with your girlfriend and her kids and I don't even know them? That's how shit start happening to kids. That's how people start getting touched and shit. Because I don't know these people. I don't know what they do. Not saying it like that, but just saying, like, I don't know who they are. And they don't know me. Shit, I could have did something to them. You know what I'm saying? So, just weird. But whatever. Black people normalize too much shit for me. But I would spend the summer. I spent like maybe a summer or two with her and her family. And I liked Tammy. Tammy was real cute. She was working a nurse job. And so it was a lot of time when my father was just left in the house, and he would just be like, oh, I'll be right back. So it was just me and the kids, and we would play, we would listen to music. They would ask me questions about my mama. I would ask them like how they feel about my dad. They really wasn't a big fan of my dad. Basically, my dad just came and he just automatically became the man of the house, which really irritated them, because they was like, we don't even know you. But the mother kind of just allowed him to come in and take over. Like, he came in, he disciplining, he in charge of shit, he paying certain shit. So there's like this obligation, and they hated him. They hated my daddy. They hated my daddy. And honestly, the girlfriend damn near hated it too, but that was her man, and she was gonna stick beside him. Like, just dysfunction everywhere. And I remember that he used to get into it with her a lot. Like, they used to scream, they used to argue, and then he would sometimes leave for days, and I wouldn't know where he was at. And it's like, you leaving me with them. And even though I started to get closer and closer to them, like, I used to call her my mama, I used to call her kids my sister and brother, even though they really didn't like me that much. It took them a while to like warm up to me, but I understood because they didn't know me. But it's like, Daddy, why are you leaving me with them? Like, he would leave and go to Chicago and do whatever he was doing and basically cheat on Tammy while she's here taking care of his daughter. Like, what? And then whenever I would talk to my mama, I would basically tell her, and she would be pissed off because she would be like, that's not what the fuck I left you there for. Like, that's not what I allowed you to go there for. Like, he knows that he's wrong because I didn't have him take you there so you could be stuck with her. I had you there because I was under the impression he was going to be there too. So that's when that's when my mother and Tammy would have more and more conversations. Because, of course, they had a conversation before I left to go with them for the summer. But they started to talk more and more and more because it's like, oh, so this is really what's going on. This is really what's going on. And my mother was just under the impression that it was just really different from what it was. But really, like, Tammy was the one watching me and my father was out doing whatever. And my mother would be like, do you want to come back home? And I would just be like, no. Like, I'm okay with Tammy and her kids. Like, I'm getting used to them now. Like, it's okay. But when my father would come back, Tammy would basically know the shit that would be going on. And they would argue and they would fight. And I remember this one time I was in the room with Tammy's kids. And there was this screaming and arguing they was doing per usual. And then next thing you know, I hear my dad like screaming and yelling and hollering. And we come out the room and Tammy is telling us to go out the back door. And I'm confused on what's happening. And long story short, a woman that my father was cheating on Tammy with had messaged Tammy. And then my father tried to deny it and then basically tried to hit her. And she maced him. And that was really like weird to see. And it was really weird to experience because I didn't know what was going on at the time. I just knew that my father's eyes were red as shit and he was like real emotional. Then here come the Indiana police pulling up to the house. They asking questions. Then I go look at my dad. His eyes are bloodshot red. He's emotional. He telling me he's sorry. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what the fuck is going on? And but then I remember, like, I still stayed. Like, he still never left. Like, he was just like, do you want to leave? Like, why does everybody keep asking me that? Like, if y'all don't want me to be here, take me from here. But it's like, no, this is the summer. I still want to stay. I mean, I did feel away because it's like, girl, what you just do to my daddy? But but I was like, I still kind of want to stay. I still kind of want to be here. And so after that, my father, like, he still stayed around. But then he started to get, like, abusive towards her, like smacking her, pushing her, cursing at her real bad in front of us. And it's like I just never saw my dad put his hands on anybody, but he was really putting his hands on her. And my father was never really abusive towards me. I mean, it was a couple times he, like, put his hands on me, but it was never anything that was, like, crazy, I feel like. But me seeing how he interacted with her, that really, like, did something to me because it's like slapping her, pushing her, punching her, cursing at her, yelling at her, and them trying to hide it, but like we see it. It was a very toxic, very dysfunctional relationship they were in. And I witnessed it firsthand and her kids witnessed it. And that's why her son never liked my daddy, because it was like, oh, you're not going to keep putting your hands on my mama. And then when the son tried to stand up for his mama, my daddy would like punch and slap and hit him. And the mother, like, she didn't always do much. Like, she would be like, all right, you made your point. And he would be like, no, he think he the man in the house. He think he this, he that. And it was just a real fucked up dysfunctional situation. Like, and it was really just dysfunctional to see. And I would go home and I would tell my mama, not all of it, but some of it. And I felt bad for Tammy. Like, I felt bad for Tammy, especially because eventually Tammy did end up getting pregnant. And that's when she ended up having one of my brothers. And I never got to really have a relationship with that brother either, because I never really saw Tammy again. Like after, I don't remember if they broke up, but I remember like I didn't see my father anymore as much. And I remember my mother was like, that's a wrap. Like, you don't need to be seeing that. You don't need to be around it. And I didn't have a phone. They really couldn't contact me. So I didn't speak to Tammy or her kids no more. And I didn't have a relationship with my brother. And yeah, I didn't have a relationship with any of my siblings on my father's side. That's why when people ask me if I'm the only child, I say yes, because technically I am. I mean, on my mother's side, I'm the only child. On my father's side, I have all these siblings, but I never was really close to them at all. I technically have siblings, but I grew up with my mother, so I classify myself as the only child. Unfortunately, I never lie and say I don't have brothers or sisters, but I grew up with my mama, and I never saw my brothers or sister. After the stuff with Tammy, I think I saw my brothers and my sister maybe one other time, maybe one or two other times, because my father, he came and got me, and he took us out to a family reunion. And when I saw him, after like a period of not seeing him for maybe like a few months or whatever, he was like, I'm coming to get you. You're going to a family reunion. Your brothers is coming. Okay, great. My brothers is coming. Then I see this girl. They like, oh, you got a sister. Oh, I have a sister. And my father's current girlfriend at the time was my sister's mother. So I'm like, oh, this is news to me. But okay, I have a sister. So I'm seeing my brothers. We all haven't seen each other. It's like we strangers. But like they know me. Like I've seen them a few times, but like we never bonded. We never, Chuck E. Cheese when we was little, it don't count. But like they know me, they know my name. My father said, like they said my daddy talked about me. And I was the only girl for a long period of time. And I was the oldest. So it was like, yeah. And they would be like, yeah, like we want to see you. We wanted to see you. We wanted, like, we miss you, things like that. And I would be like, I miss y'all too. Like, we just like strangers. And so we went to a family reunion basically to save face for my father. And that's when I met my sister, my little sister. And after that, I never saw my brothers and sisters again. Like, I would see my cousins on my dad's side, which is my brother's children. I would see them more than I saw my own siblings. But I never saw them again after that. I never saw my brother, the one who passed away, again after that. And then my mother and I, we moved away because we were in an apartment during all that time. And my mother and I moved away to another place, and my daddy didn't have that address, and I didn't have a phone, so he couldn't call me because my mother was like, you're not having a phone, like you're not having a phone. And the phone that I did have, I told y'all, he didn't pay the bill, so it was like, okay. And so I had no way to reach out to him, he had no way to reach out to me, and then we moved. And looking back, when I used to spend time with my father, he used to tell me that my mother was the problem, and that was the reason why I didn't always see him. And my mother used to say that it was my father, and that he can come and see me if he wanted to. He can come reach out if he wanted to, and that she's not the problem. And, oh, pay attention to the one that's raising you. Pay attention to the one that's here. I'm not the bad guy. Like, they used to both say that it was each other's fault, which, like, growing up and you a kid, like, you don't want to hear that shit. It's a lot. He blaming her. She blaming him. I don't know what to believe. And my mother used to feel bad because she was like, you're not finna say that I'm the bad guy when I'm the one that's taking care of you and he's not around. So I used to take my mother's side because I'm like, you make a good point. But it wasn't until I was creating this episode the first time where I had an epiphany in real time where I'm like, there was a period when my father wasn't in my life for, I believe, 6 years. And that was like after we moved. Like, I didn't hear from my dad. I didn't see my dad. It was completely no contact for 6 years. And for the longest time, I really put all the blame on my father. Because my mother used to be like, oh, if he wanted to, he would. Oh, if he wanted to get in contact with you, he would. Us moving didn't do nothing. But it's like, it did do something. Like, you purposely, I'm not going to say she purposely moved us, but it's like you purposely made it so there would be no contact with him. Like, you didn't have his number. He didn't have your number. It was almost impossible to reach out. And she would be like, if he really cared, if he really wanted to, he would have had his sisters reach out to me, or he would have did this, which it might have been true. But still, you shouldn't have made it so impossible where he had to go through his sisters for him to get to me. And it's like, I realized that because I hadn't seen my father in 6 years, so I blamed him. I was like, he don't want to be around. He don't want to do this. But my dad had never, ever gone that long without seeing me. There was patches where I hadn't seen him in maybe like months and months at a time. Maybe even, I can't even say maybe a full year. I don't remember. But it was never to the capacity of 6 years. Me not getting a call, me not getting a text, me not getting a happy birthday, me not getting a nothing, not hearing from nobody, not hearing from him at all. And it's like, girl, it was because of you. You hated my dad. It's like they had a bond, and then that bond ended up just completely turning. I think the more that my father had girlfriends, the more that my father ended up reproducing, it just hurt my mom to have to constantly have to relive this. And then I'm in his life, so I'm telling her what's going on. She has to constantly relive this. She hates him now. Now they can't laugh. Now they can't flirt. Now he can't come see her because now she hates him. Now she despises him. Now she wants to spit on him. Now she wants to hit him. Now it's getting to one of those. And it's like, now you're using me as a pawn. And I know that that's true because that's something that my mother did well. When you're not fucking with somebody, now I'm the pawn. And now I have to go years without seeing my family members because you're mad at them. But that has nothing to do with me. And so when I had this epiphany, when I was creating this episode the first time, I was like, oh my God. It really just wasn't my father. It really just wasn't him. I do believe he could have done more, but I do believe it wasn't fair for him to have to jump over obstacles and all this shit to be able to get in contact with his daughter. She made it impossible because she didn't want me speaking to him because she hated him. But that had nothing to do with me, and that was wrong. My mama played a part in me not seeing my father for 6 years. And although my father and I never had an emotional connection, I still would have had my father in my life. And like I said, I'm not putting it all on her because like I said, if he did want to see me that bad, she did have a point, but then it's still not fair for him to have jumped through all of that. He didn't know where I lived. He didn't have my contact. He didn't have her contact. What was he supposed to do? And when I realized that, I said, wow, like all this time, for my upbringing, I was like 6 years I didn't speak to my dad. But it made sense because it's like my dad had never gone that long. It was patches, but 6 years not me hearing from my dad. Like, no. And then I remember like the last time I did hear from my dad, he was upset because like my mother had told him that she was dating somebody else and that, I was calling him my dad. And when he asked me like, so you calling another man your father? I was like, yeah. And he got upset and he threatened me. And that's when I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this with you no more. Like, I'm not doing this with you no more. And I just had never heard from him again. And I felt like that was the reason why I never heard from him again, along with the fact that we had moved and he didn't really have no way to contact me for real. But no, it was both of them. And it's like their shit had everything to do with them and nothing to do with me, yet I got caught in the middle. Yet I'm the one who had to suffer the most because of y'all shit. And that was never fair to me. But my senior year of high school, I I did end up getting in contact with my dad, or he ended up getting in contact with me. I don't really remember which one is which. It was my senior year of high school, and I ended up seeing him. I spent a little bit of time with him. I saw my cousins again. I was able to speak to my brothers and stuff again. I didn't see them, but I was able to speak to them. And he said, I want to like help pay for your homecoming. I want to help because like I told y'all, we never really had an emotional connection, but he paid for a lot of shit. Spend that money. You know what? Spend that money. Just spend it. It's fine. It's the least you could do. In my mind, it was like, it's the least you could do. Because in my mind, I was already detached. I'm like, you don't love me. You didn't want to be in my life. So the least you could do is spend that money. And I think that he basically felt that way, that I was using him, because I would only call him if I wanted something or if I wanted him to spend money, and then I would try to guilt trip him. But I didn't care, because in my mind, I hadn't heard from you in 6 years. Like, I don't care about none of that. I'm a senior now. I'm 17 going on 18. I don't give a fuck about nothing you talking about. And then I guess he felt away, and then he actually ended up ghosting me, and then I hadn't heard from him. Like, the last time I heard from him, he was supposed to be paying for me to get my nails done and stuff for my senior homecoming. And he ended up ghosting me. And that was the last time I heard from him. Then it's like, okay, now this is actually on you. But I guess my father, he kind of felt the same way. Like, girl, it's been 6 years. And that was the last time I've heard from him. Like, now he's completely out of my life. And I have no interest of reconciling with any of my family members, if I'm being honest with y'all. But thinking of my father, thinking of like who he was as a person, like, he was real lost. He was real broken. He just was who he was, and it's like he just had severe commitment issues. He never was really emotionally attached to none of his kids. He just was having all these kids and just never really cared, for real, I feel like, because he all treated us like shit. Like, when I did talk to my brothers on the phone, I never saw my sister again, and I never spoke to her again, because the mother kept her from all of us, kept her from my brothers, kept her from everybody. So we never saw her and spoke to her again. And last time I heard about my sister's mother, my father was beating her and beating on my sister too. So I don't know. The last thing I heard about my father was that he just was very angry. He was very angry. He was very abusive to my brother's mother, to my brothers. And he never put his hands on my mother. I know that every baby mother that my father has had, he has put his hands on them. I don't know if him not seeing me really just broke him. I don't know if he really cared or not. But I know that he wasn't as angry or as vicious as he was the last time, like, I heard or seen him. I think that he is just really in a dark place. I feel like he got a bad hand, and I don't know. When it comes to my father, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about my father. I feel indifferent. I feel kind of the same way I feel about my mother. Like, it's disappointing. It's hurtful. I never was able to go to a father-daughter dance. I never was able to really do the things with my father. Like, yeah, we went out. Yeah, he spent money. Yeah, we had a few laughs. Yeah, he always would say, like, oh, you daddy baby. I'm proud of you. You got honor roll. You so smart. You my firstborn. You my first girl. I love you. Stuff like that. Like, he would say it. And, like, that was, like, my homie. But my dad, he just, I don't know. And I think it was really hard on my mother because growing up, I looked just like my father as well. Like, the gap and everything. I had a really bad gap. I had fucked up teeth, period. I was very scrawny, and I had a really big gap in my mouth that was the same as my father's. And it's like, that man couldn't tell you I wasn't his daughter, okay? I looked directly like this man, exactly like this man. And so it's like, I used to feel for my mother, because it's like I couldn't imagine having to look at the face of a man that has hurt you multiple times. But it's like, I'm not him. Y'all decided to procreate. Y'all decided to have me. And I just got caught in the middle of all this shit. Now I'm not seeing my father. I'm not seeing my aunties. I'm not seeing my cousins. I'm not seeing my siblings. All because of y'all shit. All because of y'all shit. And I don't know if my life would have been any different than what it was. But I know that a lot of shit shouldn't have never happened, because a lot of shit it was up to y'all to fix it. It was up to y'all to be adults. Y'all over here playing the blame game. It was him. No, it was her. No, it was him. Grow up. There's a child at stake. Your daughter is at stake. But, that don't really matter to adults, because, that's adult business. You know how, the adults be like, oh, this grown folks business. No, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. And that's all I really got to say. Like, it ain't much to say about my father. It was kind of like a short-lived relationship. Like, he was in my life when I was younger. He was always giving me money, helping financially, I guess. I don't know if he ever helped mama with the rent or anything like that, but I know anything I wanted, I could ask for. I know anytime I was with him, it wasn't really me really being with him for real. Not for long anyway, before I got passed to somebody else or before I got taken back home. But I will say we had like a semi-bond, but like I said, the bond, it was, what really is the bond? Back then I thought it was a bond. Like back then I thought, oh, he's the fun parent. No, my dad, he didn't want to be a father. And I don't know what his upbringing was. I don't know who broke that man. But it's you didn't want to be a father. You like the idea of it. You like the idea of trapping these women, which I feel like that's more what it was. You want to trap these women, but you don't really want to be a father. And when I used to speak to my siblings, we all hated my daddy. He was abusive. He was mean. He was inconsistent, incompetent. And he treated all of our moms like shit. And I know that I never got to see him really be mean to me, but he would attack my brothers. He would attack my sisters. He would attack their mamas, and they all hated him. And my brother died because he didn't have his father in his life. He didn't have real guidance. And my brother died because of that. So that's my story. That's my father. I always wonder what it could have been in the 6 years. Would I have been different? Would my life have been different? But at the end of the day, we all are dealt with the cards that we're dealt with. And I can't go back in time and change it, nor do I want to change it, because, everything that's happened, I'm the woman I am now because of it. I definitely have daddy issues. I definitely have allowed men to treat me a certain way because I really didn't know what a man was supposed to be like. And that has really affected me, and it has taken a lot for me to take my power back. And that's something I'm still learning how to do, as far as like stop dating my father. I know that sounds weird, but if we're talking like psychological, like I have been dating men who remind me of my father, as far as like them being emotionally unavailable, some of them being abusive, some of them being just straight up mean to me. And I realized like I've dated my father. It's like growing up, you don't really realize how much stuff has affected you, or really the things that you've seen has affected you, until you grow up and you're like, damn, I'm repeating these patterns. I'm acting like my mama. I'm acting like the women that my father got impregnated. I'm acting like them. I'm allowing men to put their hands on me. I'm allowing men to be mean to me, to bully me, to kick me while I'm down, to make me feel like I'm an object, to make me feel like I am nothing. And I'm still standing by them. I'm still trying to find the good in them. I'm still trying to find the potential. And that screams daddy issues, babes. Oh, but we got mommy issues too that's coming because, I mean, I never really learned what a man is supposed to treat a woman like by seeing the men my mother brought in either. So it's like everybody has fucked me up. You fucked me up. You fucked me up. Everybody fucked me up. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. But this episode, I don't know, like when I recorded this episode before, it still kind of gave the same vibe because when it comes to my father, I just don't have that much emotional connection. So if this seem a little distant, if this seem a little different, it's only because y'all, like, I just never had the best relationship with him. He was around. I did know him. He was around. He was providing. I was spending time with him when I was spending time with him. And then for a period of 6 years, I didn't see him all through high school. I remember my mother said she reached out to him for my 8th grade graduation. He never came. I remember my kindergarten graduation. He never came. He didn't want to be a father. And I'm just tired of people having kids who don't really want to have kids because it affects your kids. And now I have to go and I have to undo everything that you have done and programmed into my mind. I have to work 10 times as harder to find my worth so I can make sure that I marry a good man that is good to me and that also wants to be a husband and father. I have to go and undo everything. I have to go and acknowledge things and accept things. I have to make sure that I'm okay and that I don't make the same mistakes. But it's so hard because the more that you try not to make the same mistakes, you end up becoming exactly who you don't want to be like. And that's something that I try my best not to be like in every day. But yeah, y'all, that's all I got for y'all today. Another, traumatic story. Not too bad, but not too good. But yes, I am dropping this episode Friday, so y'all will have a piece of me again. And then brace yourselves because the next episode will be the big one where I get into my mother and I's relationship. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Diary of a Divine Black Girl, and I will see y'all next time.